Hello everyone, I'm Xiao Gang. Now let's start diving deeper into some advanced knowledge and pitfalls. Based on my observations, there are actually very few people talking about these things in the industry. Usually, how do people teach this? They just tell you directly, we can open a project. Opening a path here, is it a bit excessive? But it should be fine. Let's find its chicken rib. Let's talk about this part. Chicken rib. We don't need to look at any of these. Let's see what it says. Look at the places marked in red. You will find it usually just tells you need to do it like this. Place a U property. Then write these two red ones. In Blueprint, you can access it or modify it. Right, this is basic knowledge. I won't go into it. You should be able to figure it out. Although it is private, this place allows access for the roommate. Write a specification like this. Then we will analyze the official project cases later. Of course, it definitely won't be analyzing Lua, because we are not really. Lua is for advanced tutorials, advanced or master level tutorials. We won't go that deep for now. What we want to say here is that we'll go through each one for you. I tell you this sentence. How do you use it in goal verification? How does he use Blueprint and UEC plus code to see it? How is it used? Okay, let's take a look next. This place should be the official documentation. Let's look at this. Looking at the official documentation is the same. We introduced the reflection system earlier. So in our code writing, there are actually many very powerful practices. So here, let's first take a look at our objects. Actually, this place, come, op or, should be in here. This is our UObject. Then this class, it is the base class of all UE. Base class. Then this object is defined by its UClass. Then this provides some methods for creating and using UObjects and some virtual methods that should be overridden in subclasses. Let's look at its parent class. This is called UObject-based utility. It provides some utility class methods. This class should not be used by you. And this is a lower level implementation of UObject. You should not use it directly either. Okay, we generally only need to focus on UObject. So let's continue looking further. Then this reflection system, it can help us access all information of UObject. So how should we understand this statement? Actually, when we write code, if we have an actor, I'll just write one casually here. Writing an actor like this is more convenient. We have this method. When you were learning Blueprint, did your teacher ever teach you to teach find feed tag? Right? It's similar to this method. This method is actually used to find the information you need. That is, this actor has many components attached to it. But I don't know what these components are right now. Not sure of the situation either. But I know it's roughly this class. Then it just passes a class or passes something else. And that's how it works. Find it, then go and use it. Actually, this is a form of reflection. The most common method. There are also some other methods. For example, directly calling a function by its name. This is also a reflection method. So-called reflection essentially means that at runtime, you obtain the running object and the information it has registered. That is, I can take the information the object needs and write it into a table. This place allows us to retrieve it at any time, go access it, so it is very convenient. Of course, it will also correspondingly bring some performance, overhead, etc. Let's continue looking below. Then we will focus on understanding UClass. UClass provides a UClass reference for UObject, used to describe its type in Unreal Engine. Each UClass also retains an object called the inner default object, abbreviated as CDO. That is class default object. So CDO is essentially an object generated using the class constructor. Generated using a class constructor. It cannot be modified either. Generally speaking, class and CDO, they are both read-only types. We can use getClass to get the class of the object instance. Okay. Then, let's take a look at how this sentence is understood. Here, in this place, we might need to write some code. In that case, let's write it here. Then, let's still write it in this project. It should be fine. Like this, take a look. We should create an actor. As for this part, let's see if we can create it quickly. We can do this through the add this method to create. Then we call it UClass. Let's call it class X. It's mainly to give you a feel for a simple little usage of UClass. Okay, let's have it generate here. Okay, let's have it fall down. Here we start talking about the first pitfall. This knowledge point. 20% of junior UEC++ programmers will definitely step into this pit. That is when they first learn U++. Let me tell you what this thing is, and we should have it created here. Let's take a look at it here. Then you look at this class, and it seems completely fine. We finish scanning. No problem. He needs to scan again. No problem. Everyone, go ahead and scan. Parse the header file. Okay, it's fine. You look at this class, and it seems fine. Actually, there is a very serious problem. Let me start it directly and show you this problem. Okay, so first, let's look here. If you don't have it here, check this box here. It says C++ class. So now this option is available. Then here, we created a class actor. We drag it into the scene. You'll notice that something seems to be missing. Can you see it? Well, it's very simple. We just create a blueprint class. We need to create a BP1. Create a BP1. We'll place it right here. Okay. Then we drag it into the scene again. You'll notice, isn't something important missing? Congratulations, you found it. This is your first pitfall. I've helped you identify it. It has no root component. That is, if you created a C++1, this kind of actor class placed in the scene, because we only actors can be placed in the world scene. Other classes like actor component, pawn, or dong dao, they can only be attached to an actor. Before being placed in the scene, your C++ code has no root component. Okay, that's how simple it is. So how do we fix it? It's actually very simple too. We are here. Let's ignore this for now. We have a variable here called rootCanBon. Then we wait for it to create. Look at create default subobject. Then we also create a U, scene CanBon. Okay, this is a scene component. Let's see if it compiles. Let's take a look. It doesn't compile. Don't look at the error list. Let's see what the output actually says. It prompts that there is no method called createDefaultSubObject. Okay, let me check. Actually, this is also very simple. We forgot to give this component a name. After we do it this way, what is it? What is this root component? It is actually, scene component is a scene component, right? Root component is a parent class within this actor. It's like a root node. Just like blueprint in the blueprint editor. Now let's start it directly. Okay, now we have this thing in our scene. You will find It can be moved, right? No problem. Let me explain this to you. What exactly is it? This as it is the root component, because in Blueprint, if you do not specify this root node, it will automatically create one for you called the default root component, something like that. We actually specify this root component through code. Only then will it work. Okay, this is our first small pitfall. Okay, next we will define a property for everyone. Okay, and because this property needs to be exposed to Blueprint, let's see if we can take a look at this file first. You can see this file. This file is very clean. We will take this. This is the reflection stick. We generate the file. Don't modify it. Let's open this file as well. Okay, this file is also very clean. It actually helps you declare some constructors, some UClasses. See these? Some registration information. This part is very complex. This is related to reflection. This is the absorption function. And some things like that to register for you. When the engine initializes, some default functions and methods are generated. If I now want to expose something in Blueprint, then I need to do it like this. For the traditional world cost, we write it like this. We give it a health. We give it a monitoring version. We give it 100. The default value is 100. We give it a U property. This read is to allow it to be exposed to Blueprint. We give it DoPrint readable and writable. Then edit anywhere should be like this. Let's try to compile it to pass. Of course, there are many ways to initialize this. How do you handle this default initialization? You can initialize it like this. You can write it like this. Write it like this. Then write it like this. You can check which value it ends up with. Anyway, this value should be the first to be overwritten. Then you can decide which of these two to keep. In that case, let's keep both for now. Okay, so after we create it like this, let's take a look at what our blueprint looks like now. Actually, there's a missing part here. It should have been written as cartograph. But that's okay. Alright, we can directly look at the C++1. But actually, let's still look at this blueprint. It's probably better for us to just look at the C++. Should we go straight to C++ or still look at the blueprint? Just look here. Money 300, right? This proves whether the order is what we thought it would be. That's it. This act. Let me see which shoe is where. This place of mine. It's this value. It's not being overwritten by this. Actually, it's being overwritten by this value. That's what it means. And now it's 300, right? So now let's change it to 200. Now let's copy it once. Hold it and make it. Let's set it to 150. This is completely fine. Right. Now, let's write another one. Write a method. So now we have these two actors. One scene has 200 blocks. One scene has 1550 blocks. Okay? What do these two red ones mean? It actually means the blueprint is readable and writable. It can be modified at any location. We can click in to see this place. This is an instant modification. This is the default state. It can be modified. So these two can be modified in both instances. Or in the default state, Power 20 treasure is read data. This instance is read only, or the default is read only, and this blueprint is read only, cannot be modified. This probably doesn't matter for the later parts. It's just some get and set methods. And the saving might use these, and it's about hiding some pins, etc. Okay, this is related to network replication. You can take a look. This is often used sometimes. This upibird. What are the red ones here? Now, let's write a method. This method of ours, we still need to supplement the cartograph here. We give it a Xiao Gang class. Okay, we give it a method. This method is called ufunction. Okay, we make this method callable from blueprint. Okay, similarly, we give it a category. We call it Xiao Gang card. Okay, no problem. Actually, we haven't talked about CDO yet, but we'll cover it later. Okay, how do we write this method? We call it get. Get create money. Okay, that means getting the money of the current object. Now let's create its instance. Prepare its definition. This definition is very simple. We need to return an int value. This is a blueprint method. Here, we directly return this money. Okay, no problem. Then let's write another method. Let's compile it first, see if it passes, otherwise, later. Did we write something wrong somewhere? If it still shows red lines, UFUNC writes points. Let's take a look at what's causing this error. Don't compress it. I'm checking if this is written incorrectly. It was indeed written incorrectly. Let's find a UL fetch like this. Let's go copy it. Found it. It's written like this. Let's do a global search here. It was indeed misspelled. This error is very common. This kind of error can be spotted at a glance. Now let's write another method. Let's call it get. Set my CDO. The morning of our default object. Let's understand this concept properly. Okay, so my return here is quite special. We need to do something a bit more complex. Then we need to declare a UClass. UClass new is equal to let's call it XG class. It is equal to this. Static class. This method. This is generated for us by UBT. Okay, we all have this method by default. Then here we let it. Get CDO, get default object. This method is a method within the class. See, it's stuck again. That's him. He is used to describe this class. To describe this UOBJT, it must have a default template object. And conversely, it's the UOBJT core. The reason I didn't write it on one line here is to let you see that how it is processed line by line. Then my OBJT. Okay, so at this point, we perform a cast. We cast it to this object. My CDO. We use this cast. And here, we need to pass a parameter for it. Take a look. Take a look at this place. Is there something written wrong? It shouldn't be. It's written just like this. But pay attention. This is called converting this class to that class. This is called downcasting. This might fail, but we know that what we get. It must be. This refers to the parent-child relationship. So for this downcasting, we can be sure it will succeed here. But for convenience, let's check it. If we successfully get this CDO object, then we will return its money. Okay, so here we should be able to directly access this money. Good. You need to carefully understand these two. These two things. This is accessing a variable. Okay. You need to carefully understand these two functions. What do they mean? Okay, let's start now. We have started. Okay, let's directly get our two brothers by looking at the blueprint. These two brothers. We can find begin play in the blueprint. But we won't use begin play here. Let's use a key press. Count this as one. Cabot. Then we find the first one. Take out the first one. The blueprint is for writing this code. but you are not allowed to write any logic. That is, you are not allowed to write business logic. You can only write test code. Okay, let's have one test this, hold on. Two test this, hold on. Then we call it get money, right? Isn't it? Then we have this function node. Let him get it too. So we all use the default ones first. Then we take this print string. Okay, now let's take a look at the print result. This 3 boards. Isn't it amazing? Why is it 3 boards? Understand the phrase default object of the class. Now let's test it for you again. We'll just take the money directly now. Give it create money. We'll just not use this one. We'll use this one. This red error is for our cut it off. This is because the pin is not connected here. It might be a bit messy. Let's just delete the 3. Now let's take a look at this. Alright, hey, 125 and 200. What is this? Okay, we spent so much effort and time on this lesson. Just to explain this, login is to you clearly explain the CDO. We used property U function. I marked this data, recorded it into the reflection system, subject to constraints and control. So this paragraph is what I spent a full 20 minutes explaining this to many tutorials. In many cases, they haven't explained this to you. Possibly, huh? Now let's look at this again. This has been generated. Yeah. See how much more code it has. Then let's take a look. Let's not look at the details. This is not something to cover now. This is very complex. I'll drag it in like this. You can see this place. What is this? Starting with Xiao Gang class. This Xiao Gang class looks familiar, doesn't it? See? Look, it's reflection meta. Data by a pull fan kexing. Use fan kexing. Got it. That's what it means. And here are some functions we wrote. This function actually reflects to this place. You see, this exact thing is for blueprint. That means blueprint needs to follow this process. If you set a break, okay, let's assume if you set a breakpoint, we are now QRM. Let's set a breakpoint first. Let's start first. Hey, hit the breakpoint. What does this mean? It means the blueprint came from here. This side isn't work. We won't look at this. Okay, our focus, let's terminate it first. Let's take another look. Let's take another look at this up property. We'll paste the name over. Look, this part is a function, right? It generated these corresponding functions. There is a modding here, isn't there? This part is called zconst. That means to put it at the end. It doesn't want you to see this thing. It registered the property. See, no, we'll go into more detail later. Hey, don't modify this part. It's useless even if you change it. It will be regenerated every time. Okay. Generally, in interviews, they will ask at most up to this point. That is very in-depth. Asking about this level, usually mid-level or above, would ask about this level. Okay. Then in this lesson, we'll stop here. Remember our CDO. What is a class? What is an object? What is a class default object? Alright, that's it for now.